I've got two topics of focus in this forecast for America by One Nation Weather. I'm talking about the plains storms getting going from Texas and Oklahoma all the way on up to the Canada border. That will progress eastward into the weekend. And then also Tropical Storm Bret making its way through the Lesser Antilles. Of course, it is important to get that tropical coverage in, so let's go ahead and talk about those key messages from the National Hurricane Center about Bret. It is forecast to move across the Lesser Antilles this evening, which is Thursday, June 22nd, and tonight as a strong tropical storm. There has been a hurricane watch that is for St. Lucia. St. Lucia also has that tropical storm warning. The warning also includes Barbados, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as well as Martinique and Dominica. These areas have flooding from heavy rainfall possibility. We also have the strong wind possibility as well as dangerous wave possibility coming along the coast. So a triple threat for sure. Definitely not looking the best it has looked, which is great. I mean, if you live in these islands for us here, the more weakening that it appears to have on the infrared satellite, the better. But you can definitely see still some very healthy cirrus fan out. Might just be trying to recycle here in the center of that low pressure system, which is really getting close to Barbados at this time. You can see the wind field history of Bret has brought it really a pretty thin line of this wind field overall initially, but look at how this is spread out, which means that it does bring the chance for many of these Lesser Antilles to get impacted, which is why there is such a large tropical storm warning now. You can see that again stretching down through these 5, 6, 7 islands for us here. We also have Barbados, of course, basically right under the influence of this system as of your 5 o'clock time frame Thursday afternoon. Continues its westward motion. It's moving at 16 miles per hour. Notice the cone stays white in the background color for us here. That is because it does not go into that silver color, because it only goes up to 3 days out. And this time, because it is not expected to last really past the end of Saturday, as it looks right now, as it weakens to a depression well south of Jamaica for us here, as well as Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. Everybody in those communities should be spared. And unless you're the HWFI model for you here, that is not expected to be the track. You can see all the other models basically in consensus that this will make its way over to Central America, and really by the time it makes it there, it will be so weakened that it will not be too much of a problem. Maybe some flooding and landslide concerns there, though. Intensity guidance, again, you can see this really dropping on off within the next 48 hours, making its way on down into that low-end tropical storm, high-end depression category. It will probably be post-tropical by the time we go into Sunday. So let's track out Bret. Early Friday, again, making its way past all the islands. Make sure if you live in those areas, really from now all the way through your late Friday, that's when you need to be staying safe. In Barbados, it'll clear out more earlier on Friday for us here. And then you can see by Saturday morning, progressing westward steadily. Some showers from this on the northern end impacting Puerto Rico, the DR, and Haiti. But again, this will be on the lighter end. Nothing too significant that can't be handled there. Jamaica will also get some scattered showers, but notice how it's more of just an influence as you go to Sunday morning. Not even a system, not even a low pressure icon from the model at this point, from the European model, by the time we go to Sunday morning. Now here's the rain totals expected. These purple areas are where 2 to 4 inches are anticipated according to the European model. We will see some locally higher totals, and with the heavy rain, and the wind combining together, that those gusts, 60 to 70 miles per hour at times, some of those gusts could be near hurricane force. That will cause some of these trees to come down. We'll see some uprooting. We'll keep an eye on that. And then also you can see some of the 1 to 2 inch totals looking to progress westward. Some spots in Haiti, Dominican Republic could pick up around 2 inches of rain. Here's the overall systems as we go into Friday. Again, there's Bret, but also behind it is Tropical Depression 4, also probably soon to be known as Cindy as it moves northwest. That's the key, northwest. It should make its way north of the islands, as you can see on this tropical storm wind chances map. You can see a few of the northern Lesser Antilles being impacted by this, potentially on the very southwestern edge. But notice how the tropical storm wind chances are really just decreasing as it moves northwest. Here we go into Saturday. You can see Cindy looking to approach the islands if it is Cindy by that point. Either way, it will at least be a depression, I think, according to the European model's intensity. You can see, notice how the tracks bring this in general off to the northwest, and you can see it making its way north of all of the Lesser Antilles and the Caribbean islands, and it really looks, according to the cone, to die off to a depression by the time we go to Monday into Tuesday, especially as it goes, kind of squeezes between the Bahamas and Bermuda for us here, which is the good news. Again, weakening as it moves northwest. Tropical waves do continue into late month. You can see some of those continuing into portions of the tropical Atlantic, but none of those do look to develop right now. There is no further development expected within the next 7 days of anything new. Now let's shift gears because we do have some new developments going on land for us here in the United States. You can see we do have a level 3 severe weather threat expected out of eastern Wyoming, going on down into portions of southwest South Dakota as well as western Nebraska. You can see the level 2 threat stretches all the way on down into the panhandle of Texas, where we had that tornado that I heard about going on down and happening in portions of the Texas panhandle. Just sad to hear about the deaths there. And unfortunately, we could have more tornadoes. First of all, did want to talk about the hail. Look at the hatched area that covers basically this entire area, and it is anticipated that we will see some of that 2 to 4 inch diameter hail in that zone, which means it could get on up to the size of softballs. We also have tornadoes possible in eastern Wyoming especially, and then the panhandle of Texas and Oklahoma. A few tornadoes in each of those zones. In a few tornadoes, it's all it takes to wipe out towns, to wipe out communities. Just keep that in mind and choose the safer option as these storms move through. Upper level energy into early weekend. Again, the storms are going to be, this system, this upper level entity is going to bring the storms across portions of the plains and the Midwest as we go into early weekend. We also have some showers in the East Coast as we go into the Friday into Saturday time frame. Notice, look at the instability really surging northward, medium to high levels of that entering the Dakotas, portions of Nebraska as we go to your Friday afternoon, which is why that is the best risk zone out of all of these for the storms. The moisture availability, it is plentiful. South winds in many levels of the atmosphere, that's going to pump up those dew points, just going to pump up the energy in general. And your Friday afternoon storm coverage looks like this. You can see the European model painting out some of these individual clusters, and those will get going, and they will have more red in them than this model indicates as they get going. Also notice some of that rainfall going on the eastern coast. Just did want to point out the rainfall totals from that. A good couple of inches of rain possible in some spots, many spots seeing at least half an inch to an inch, though, through Sunday morning. Now, back to your severe weather getting going, moving out of the plains, making its way closer to the upper Midwest for us here as we go into your Saturday. Look at this, a level 2 severe weather threat that does include southern Minnesota going on down into northwestern Missouri, the far eastern portions of South Dakota, Nebraska, and Kansas getting included on this as well. It does look to have a hatched area probably for some of that hail. We could also see at least a few spots see some of the damaging winds as well as the tornadoes. Look at this shift southeast as we go into our Sunday, and then look at what the pattern looks like on the East Coast as we go into Monday. That cold front draping its way across the East Coast. I'd look for the severe weather potential then to go from portions of the I-95 corridor around New York City, curling back through places of Pennsylvania, and kind of going down the East Coast into the Carolinas. That would be where we might have at least a lower end severe weather threat to maybe level 2 as we go into our Monday. We'll keep an eye and close watch on that for you here. Now, your Friday afternoon temperatures, look at this. We've got temperatures well into the 90s surging northward, and the main point I show you with this graphic is how the heat is going to move eastward ahead of that cold front. Look at this, well into the 90s in many spots in Illinois, well into the 90s in many portions of Wisconsin as we go into Saturday afternoon. This is just blistering heat, and if you don't have air conditioning, this is a really sad event. And make sure you are reaching out for neighbors. Make sure you're trying to get those fluids. If you don't have air conditioning, you can keep yourself alive in these conditions. Just make sure that you're drinking plenty of water. Ask friends, ask a neighbor who can help you out with that situation. Sunday afternoon temperatures. Notice how we get cooler air starting to filter into the Dakotas, the northern tier. Look at that. Wisconsin goes from the 90s on Saturday to the 70s on Sunday. And thank you so much for watching. Here are the credits for this video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Go ahead and please like and subscribe for more of this weather content.